Welcome to Xcelerate with Shawn Redford. The Xcelerate Xcast is designed to provide Experior agents with simple, repeatable, and profitable strategies for you to grow your business. We will share ideas on how to identify ideal target markets and new opportunities, improve your conversations with proven scripts and storytelling, and finally, we'll also meet with industry experts and our partner companies to ensure we're up to date with the newest technology and insights, all so you're able to accelerate your growth. We hope you enjoy Xcelerate with me, your host, Shawn Redford. Hello, Experior champions, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Xcelerate with Shawn Redford. Today, we'll be discussing all things investments, fixed income annuities, retirement income planning, just the investment market in general with our very good friend and partner, Colton Cangley of Quantum. Colton is the Director of Business Development at Quantum. I cannot say enough about this partnership, this relationship we have with such an incredible organization, and the support we've received from Colton is second to none. Colton gets it. You know, he's been in the financial services industry for several years, but several more in sales. He's been in the trenches just like all of you. He holds his Series 6, 63, and 26 registrations, as well as his life and health insurance licenses. So he gets it. So I hope you enjoy this journey of conversations and door openers that we both are going to share with you from our experience in the field. I'm so excited to share this fun conversation with our dear friend, Colton Cangley. And thank you for joining us today, Colton. We're thrilled to have you on board to have this conversation. How's it going?
It's going well. It's been a long time coming. I'm super excited to be here. I think there's a lot to discuss. And then upcoming shows. It's gonna be fantastic, this whole process. So super excited on our end. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and thanks for the reminder. It has been a while since we've been trying to get this nailed down, but I'm thrilled. You know, I'm so, as we were just talking about before we came on here today, this relationship really has been a win-win. It's been mutually beneficial for Quantum, for Experior, for Colton, for Shawn. You know, that's the definition of a true partnership, is when both parties are benefiting. And I can't say we could be happier than we are to this point.
Oh, absolutely. So my memory serves me correct. We've been in partnership for a little over a year at this point, right? Yeah. Roughly. Yeah. And the trajectory of everything is absurd in the best way possible, right? Like, you guys are growing so fast. You're that little map, the dot on the map that once was Experior is expanding, right? And people are taking note. And so I'm very fortunate from a partner standpoint to call you guys my partner and Quantum's partner, just because I think over the next 12, 18, 24 months is going to be a wild ride, especially at the growth rate. So excitement on all factors from this side, and I'm assuming that side. So yeah, it's been great so far, and the future is going to be even brighter.
Well, we were doing no money business before we started this relationship. We were a life insurance organization, and man, you know, from 0 to 100 like that. And a lot of it has to do with, you know, Quantum's value proposition is about the education, right? I'm sure it's about product innovation as well. Don't get me wrong. But I think one of the things you guys really pride yourselves on is education. And, you know, that's been a testament. You've been so supportive of all of our events. You're out there, especially you, Colton. You're at all of the events, shaking hands, kissing babies, spreading the word, and helping our agents understand this opportunity and how important it is to build a fence around your clients, having this opportunity to get a greater share of their wallet, but educate them and add value in ways that, you know, most people aren't giving enough time and attention to that average consumer market. Would you agree?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I would agree. So it's funny you say that, right? Because from the agent perspective, right? So doing great work with life insurance. Life insurance can be and is a huge factor in like kind of financial planning, right? It's the king of certain things, like tax-free benefits, stuff like that. Now, right, we add tools to the tool belt to be able to not only bring more products, but bring the most client-centric products on the market, right? To increase wallet share, right? When you do all those things correctly, in my opinion, one, from the agent perspective, you're going to make more money. But first and foremost, we're going to do the right thing for the client. But from a career standpoint, it's okay. From the ROI on your time, more wallet share, more revenue for the agent. And when you're helping people the right way with the best products, right, referrals are going to come, right? The book of business is just going to grow. Wallet share is going to increase. You're going to make more money per client. And that's business, right? But the caveat to all of that, in my opinion, is doing what's right for the client first. So when we're adding these tools, we always have to keep the client in mind. So we're doing the right thing. If you do that and you see enough people, right, that's the recipe for success. You can have a very outstanding career and have a lifestyle that very little people are able to achieve.
Indeed. You know, you mentioned something there, and it kind of, when I talk to our agents about our opportunity, about our model of building a business, ultimately, you know, not that we mandate that our agents build agencies, but most of them do. You know, our value proposition is we will support you building your business, generating revenue, however which way you decide to do it. But, you know, the terminology that's often brought up are things like passive income, which I've never believed in. There's nothing passive about the income anybody earns. I mean, you've got to work for that income. But, you know, multiple sources of income, I think is critical for stability in your business, for longevity in your business. And to your point, to really do a better job helping the clients. And the reason I'm going to say this, and I'll throw it back to you with a couple of questions. You know, I was talking to a group of agents. It was last night, group of agents, many based out of the Texas area, actually, where we just last met each other. And, you know, I was trying to convey to them how consumers today have evolved. You know, they don't want to feel like they're a transaction. They want to feel like the service that they're getting is personalized and tailored for them. And so what I try and encourage our agents to do is don't go into a meeting with a preset agenda so, you know, hard lined that you're not going to be able to deviate from it, because then the client, it feels like a salesperson client interaction as opposed to father to father, right? Colton, we're both fathers. And if we could talk to each other like people, and you tell me what is important to you, why don't I let you drive the agenda? If you're worried about your retirement income planning, or do you have enough money saved, or are you going to outlive your money? Or maybe are you concerned about buying life insurance? Let's face it, most people don't wake up in the morning thinking that they want to buy life insurance, right? But they do wake up in the morning seeing the headlines talking about the markets or inflation or taxes or whatever, and it gets them thinking and worrying about their money. Why not give our clients an opportunity to voice those concerns, to have that conversation? And now the challenge is with many of our agents, they don't have experience in that regard. So like, how do you recommend people get started with being able to have those investment conversations, those retirement income planning conversations with their clients?
So when I was in the field, right, I remember my first 30, 60 days drinking from a fire hose, right? And a lot of times when we're new in the business, right, we kind of have a script, right? So like you were saying, you're kind of rigid going into the meeting, which is fine. But as time goes on, right, you can come off script a little bit. You can be yourself a little more, because it's really a conversation. It's asking the right questions so the client can talk. When the client is talking, right, I think you'd be shocked on how little I talk in client meetings, because when the client is talking, they're telling you what they need, right? It's the old adage, we have one mouth, two ears, right? We need to listen majority of the time in those meetings. Because when we're talking to clients, they're going to tell us what we need, right? So we got to ask good questions. So fact finding, or is it called EFA? Is that what it is?
Yes, we have an expert financial analysis. Yeah.
Right. Correct. So If you can perfect that early on and get the information, okay? Now there's an art to it, right? There's a science and an art to this. The art piece is having those meetings, the EFA meetings, a conversation and not peppered like a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
How much is this? How much is that? How much is this? Right.
Yeah.
So when you can turn it into a conversation, it's going to open doors. Okay. Now, when I was training agents, my thing was like, you're not going to know everything at all. Okay. The hardest
just own that, right? Just own it.
Own it. Because in reality, right, and this is where my outlook might be a little different than most, and that's fine. In reality, the hardest part about this business, in my opinion, is getting in front of people. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you can figure out how to get in front of people consistently, you can make as much money as you want, right? You get that down first. I would much rather have an agent that is hell-bent on seeing people. I can teach everything else. We can teach the EFA. We can teach the sales process. We can teach the close most of the time, right? Yeah. But when we're doing that, not knowing everything is okay. And here's why, right? You get the information. Now the strategic partners come into play. You get the information, you call Quantum or Global View or whatever partner is going to help in that client situation, which we'll get into that in just a second. But for Quantum, right, you get the information, you call me and my team, and I will walk you through the product process, right? So the more information we have from the EFA, the better job myself and my team can do in finding the right product and creating a customized roadmap for their success. Okay. Now, I'm going to go on my soapbox a little bit here.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Preach.
So what we don't want to is paralysis by analysis. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is you don't need to know every single product in the industry. You don't. That's our job. Okay. So knowing product doesn't help you sell more, right? It helps you close a deal or two, but it doesn't help you sell more, right? You got to know the product, be able to sell it. I understand that. But when we're talking about that, okay, so now you found the information, you're talking to me and my team. Okay, more information, the better. So my job from a sales aspect is how do we create this customized roadmap to tell a complicated story, depending on the situation, simply to make the story make sense for the client. If the client gets it from a story perspective, right? This is going to go here. We're going to make this move at this point. We're going to reassess at this point. If they understand the story simply, then it becomes an easier sale for the client. They understand it. They don't understand product, right? Most of them don't. And that's okay. But they understand security and having a plan, and they're going to rely on the agent to control the rudder, right, through this long process of retirement. So if we can simplify that the plan, right, it might be super complicated. That's where the art comes in, depending on the client. But one of my old managing partners, he was the best I've ever seen at it, and I learned a lot from him because we were working with high net worth individuals and dentists and things like that. Their lives are complicated financially, but we put that plan together where it made sense and it was simple to tell the story. The rest is cakewalk. It's literally, they were like, okay, where do I sign? Where do I sign? It was that simple, right? So that's what when you guys are calling me, that's what I'm taking into consideration. Okay, we have all this information. What are the moves? How do we tell the story simply from a product perspective and a customized plan perspective? And then the rest is history. Okay, absolutely. So back to the original question, you don't need to know much about product, right? Or the intricate details of what type of account and how it functions and all that, right? If you get the information, Quantum is here to help you dive into it, analyze it, and then we can make the moves accordingly, right? Absolutely. So that's my pitch is call Quantum.
And I think consumers today, first of all, they don't expect you to be an expert at everything.
Correct.
Right? Your primary job, I think, is to manage that relationship and take the time to listen. Like, man, you are bang on. You and I see eye to eye on that. Like, this business is not built on product knowledge. I've known some of the smartest people in this industry that didn't last a minute because they didn't have an audience to talk to, because they didn't have a brand, or they were too busy, espousing their virtues and how brilliant they are and how much they know and talking over clients' heads. You've got to be relatable. And your brand, I do a presentation where I talk about branding, and your brand, anybody's brand, I don't care who you are, comes down to confidence, credibility, and trust. Like, do they feel like that they can trust you? And if you can be those three things to your client, and in terms of confidence and credibility, saying, listen, we deal with people, Mr. and Mrs. Client, just like you all the time. But it's not Shawn that's doing all the plans. I've got a team of experts behind me that do all the grunt work. My job is to understand your needs, to communicate that with the team, and to come back to you with solutions that are customized solutions just for you. That's it, man. That's all you've got to say.
That's it.
Because they're thinking about it, right? They're already thinking about it. And I think the next thing, though, is for our agents, how do they get the conversation started, right? Like, how do they make individuals aware? And I don't care if they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, it doesn't matter. How do they make them understand the importance of saving for retirement and the challenges that they may or may not even be aware of with retirement income planning?
That is a fantastic question. So I think such a good question. And I think the hardest part about that question is, how do we make people aware? Right now, with that being said, it's really a simple conversation. Coming to the client and asking those questions, right? Genuinely asking them, hey, has anyone talked to you about this? Anyone keeping you accountable, right? Things like that. And again, it goes back to, right, one mouth, two ears, right? And then you just listen, because the general public does not know how these things work, right? So now even if you're new, you have most of the time, you have a better understanding on how things work when it comes, especially to income planning and retirement, right? Tax-free, all these different things, according to our tools we have in our tool belt. So having that genuine conversation, not salesy, nothing like that, coming from a place of, is anyone talking about it? Like, let's dive into this. Let me ask you a couple questions. And then you just rinse and repeat, right? And then they're going to come to you. Might take some time, and that's okay. A lot of it's timing. That's another point. But yeah, absolutely. Just asking questions, your friends, family, colleagues, coworkers. You'd be shocked I would challenge you to ask those questions, because I think you would be shocked at the response.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any clue, majority of them, and they're looking for somebody that they can trust to help guide them through that process.
Yeah. Well, it's just like life insurance, right? As I said, I think I said earlier, people don't wake up in the morning wanting to buy life insurance. It takes somebody like our agents to say, listen, you need it. It's the responsible thing to do, but you're busy with work and taking care of the house and the kids, running Billy and Susie off to soccer practice or whatever it happens. Life gets in the way. You're busy. My job as your advisor, as your agent, whatever you're calling yourself, your risk manager, my job is to force you to take some time to have a look at these concerns, these issues. And I guess specifically with retirement planning, and I'd like to focus on one aspect in particular of the common obstacles or challenges that people face in retirement income planning with you, because fixed indexed annuities are like the answer to this issue. But the common challenges people face in terms of retirement income planning are longevity, so outliving their money. The fact that I think the stat now is a male my age, not your age, but a male my age has a 1 in 3 chance of living into their 90s. For a woman, it's a 50-50 chance that they're going to live into their 90s. So how do you know you're not going to run out of money? The second one is volatility, market volatility, and sequence of return risk, and terminology that we use a lot in the investment world. Most people don't know about, but I want to come back to this with fixed indexed annuities because I think that's really where they are the sweet spot. Things like inflation. Inflation is rampant today. What is the impact on your savings and on your income in the future as a result of that? Tax planning is another issue. And then finally, leaving a legacy. Like, what are you doing to make sure that you're remembered long after you're gone? These are the common conversations, but just asking somebody, do you know how much you're going to need in retirement? Are you aware that you're going to be retired for as long as you worked? I mean, that's for most people, that just blows their mind, right?
Yep.
Right? So
100%.
So, I mean, you're welcome to address those things, but I'm excited about the opportunities in the fixed income annuity space or fixed indexed annuity space, because I really think it's an important tool that our agents have access to that most clients should be considering today.
Absolutely. Okay. So, I love this conversation.
Unbundle that, right?
I love this conversation, right? I don't know where I heard this, but I'm it's not plagiarism, it's research, right? So I love asking the question, can you go right now on a 30-day vacation, right?
Yep.
What happens on vacation? You spend more than you think, and all these different things. Okay. Can you go on a 30-year vacation? What's a 30-year vacation? That's retirement, right? Every day's a Saturday, all these cliches, right? So when it comes to longevity and income planning, there's a book called Paychecks and Playchecks by Tom Hegna. And I love this adage, right? Is we want to make sure they have their paycheck, right? Their bills covered for the rest of their life. So that's their paycheck. Anything above and beyond that, that's their play check. Okay. In the investor life cycle, right? There's typically 3 that most advisors, agents talk about. That's the accumulation phase, distribution phase, and then the legacy phase. And you'd be shocked on how many advisors don't even talk about the legacy phase, right? But actually, we've kind of added a step in there, right? So we have the accumulation phase, okay? And then you have the red zone area. That's 5 to 10 years before retirement, right? We're adding a protection phase in there, okay? Why are we doing that, right? So clients work 20, 30 years to build this nest egg for retirement. If something goes wrong in that 5 to 10 years before retirement, their well-executed savings plan could go out the window. Yep. Now we're talking about sequence of returns risk, right? Not to get too technical, but if we can protect that, take sequence of returns risk off the table, right? Take COVID, for example. How many people postponed their retirement, or they retired right before and they had to go back to work because of the pandemic?
Yeah.
Right. So if they were contemplating retirement about that time, but they protected their assets rather than still having them risky, they probably could have still retired if they did it correctly.
Yeah.
Right. So that protection phase is super imperative. That's where fixed index annuities come in. Right. It's not an equities replacement. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, let's get this in a protected account with upside potential, so we're not ever going to have a risk of losing those funds going into retirement, especially in the early stages. Okay. Now, with that, different products, different solutions, the income aspect of it is a huge conversation piece, right? So essentially, there's no more pensions in the workplace, very few, but we're kind of creating our own pension, right? So I even say that to folks. Hey, do you have a pension at your work? No. What if I could show you a way to create your own pension, right? So you have IULs, and then also you have fixed index annuities that have lifetime income streams. Okay. That's your paycheck, right? Might still have a little bit of the portfolio left, right? So that if that's managed properly, that'll be your paycheck. And now we're going to have a great, prosperous retirement, right? Because we have these things in place that are solid. We have that foundation built going into that 30-year vacation where most people spend more money than they think, right? So that's I just love talking about it because I think there's so many angles, right? Going back to your earlier question, there's so many angles to start these conversations with, right? You just got to get creative, right? Don't be a sales guy.
Yeah.
Pension.
Just have a conversation. Yeah.
Have a conversation. And the more creative you can be with it in a spin, right? The pension spin or the paychecks and playcheck spin, it just gets people thinking, right? You know what? I've never thought of it like that. How do I do it? Perfect. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Right. Let's sit down, have a conversation. Let me look at your whole financial picture. I'll put a plan together.
Yeah. No and imagine saying this. I don't have any idea how to do it. I don't know. But the good thing is I got the folks at Quantum. They do all the work for me. Yes. Let me collect the information. Let's start with the EFA, where we're going to talk about, and we're not talking about the light EFA, folks. I'm talking about the full EFA, where we're going to talk about your cash flow. Like how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. Then we're going to talk about your insurance needs because we want to protect your income and your ability to provide for your family so that the kids can continue to go to the same school should something, heaven forbid, happen to you and their whole world isn't uprooted. And then we're going to talk about the fun part, the retirement income phase. And because we already talked about the income, cash flow, we kind of have a gauge for how much you're going to need in retirement. We can use that as a ballpark. But to your point, we often spend more than we think. So play that into it. And I loved what you said about the red zone phase. You know, back in the early 2000s, a company in Canada, Manulife Financial, who owns John Hancock down in the States, they hired Moshe Milevsky, who's a world-renowned economist. He teaches at one of our business schools in the Toronto area. And he coined the phrase, the retirement risk zone, which is basically what you're talking about, right? That 5 to 10 years before retirement and after. And what a great opportunity for agents, advisors to be talking to their clients about, asking them the question, has anybody ever talked to you about the retirement risk zone? Are you in the retirement risk zone? Well, what does that mean? Well, and then you can have that conversation. You can show them the quick math. This is retirement risk. You've retired, you've got no more money coming in. Year one, you lose 50% of your portfolio just because the market tanks and you're all in equities. So now your assets go from, I don't know, let's just say $1 million to $500,000. What kind of return do you need in year two just to get back to break even? You need 100% return on your money. So you only lost 50%, but now you need 100% to make it back up. Now that's a drastic comparison. But what if it's 10%? Well, then you need 11% to make up the difference. If it's 20%, you need that. Like the more you lose in the early years, the more you have to gain back just to get back to break even. That's the risk here. You don't have any more money coming in, but you're now starting to take money out when you don't have as much time in the market to make up those losses, right? Like this is important discussions. And this is why I absolutely loved and Tom Hegna, a great book. You know, if anybody wants to have some good scripting and a better understanding of the importance of guaranteed income in retirement, you've got to read Tom Hegna's book, Paychecks and Playchecks. Thank you for reminding me about that one. I got to grab that one. I've listened to Tom speak many times, but I haven't read the book yet.
Oh man, he's great on stage. You know, the other thing too that you could bring up in income planning in retirement is Social Security. Oh. That's another big one, right? So election year, it's going to be on the TV 24/7, 365. Okay, a lot of folks are very worried on You talk to the younger generation, we're not even counting on
it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The older generation, they're like, I better have my Social Security. But what if it changes? Right. You could take it at X age, you can take it at later, right? There's that compounding effect in there. So Social Security planning is a huge door opener, especially for people in the risk zone, right? 10 years before, 10 years after. But here's what's crazy, right? From a product perspective, you guys have the only product in the industry that has a safety net for Social Security. It's the only one. Nexus has the patent on it, right? It's called Plan Gap. It's with North American.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have a super unique feature. Now, we could be on the either side of the fence if Social Security is going to change or if it's not. That's not my argument. My argument is people are worried about it, right? So if you know an inkling about Social Security, right, and people are worried about it, we have the only product in the industry that has that, right? There's a door opener.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, I don't know if it's changing. No one really knows. It's on the government website. It might change in 2034, 2036, right? Reduction of benefits paid out. People are worried. So you're telling me, so what I'm saying is from a product perspective, I've got the only product in the industry that has a safety net for Social Security. Let's chat.
Who's going to say no?
Who's going to say no? Right. There's another guy, Tom Hegna's friend, actually. His name's Van
Mueller.
Van Mueller. Yes.
Yeah.
Have you heard
industry legend? Oh, I've heard him speak.
I've heard him. That dude has more golden nuggets in his speeches, than the leprechaun at the end of the rainbow. Really.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but one of his pitches is, hey, if you take Social Security early, aren't you leaving thousands of dollars on the table? Yeah. Okay. But if you take Social Security late and you pass away, aren't you leaving thousands of dollars on the table? Yeah. He has a great way of spinning those things, right, around Social Security because people are worried.
Sure.
So let's leverage it, from a business perspective.
I love it, man. I've already got topics here for our next series of podcasts, but as we're starting to wind up, I want to talk a little bit more about quantum. I would love for you to share, both how can people reach out? What is the benefit? I mean, we already talked about a number of benefits kind of subconsciously here. You've been dropping those nuggets in there every once in a while, but, just slap us in the face with it. Why quantum? What is the value proposition that Xcelerate has partnering with an organization like Quantum?
Multitude of reasons. Okay. So we've been around 30 years. Ron Schertz founded us back 30 years ago. Ron Schertz founded a Nexus in 2004. Quantum actually financed the Nexus launch back in 2004. But from a partnership standpoint, right? If you're trying to build a team, if you're trying to get traction, you name it, that's where me and my team come in, right? From illustrations, case design, case prep, product trainings, one-on-one time. We are a resource for you. We're trying to take that heavy load when you're trying to plan for a client rather than going to 10 different websites, run all these illustrations, not knowing all the features of the products, right? That's what me and my team do, right? So you're going to be more efficient. We want you guys to go see the people. Okay. Now, from a product standpoint, and access to products, we're in a very unique, situation in the best way possible. So not everyone has access to a Nexus. Okay. Not everyone has access to another they did like $13 billion in premium innovation design group out of Topeka, Kansas. Okay. Not everyone has access to these products, right? So from a product selection standpoint, you guys are in elite status. But also the back end support, sifting through all of this stuff with products and flashy things and that. And, we want to work with some good carriers, great ratings, renewal rate history, index due diligence. That's what my team does behind the scenes. right? We have a more research than you could shake a stick at, right? Call us. I will walk you through it, right? Can I give an example?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So I had an agent call me the other day, has a client, he put him in an annuity back in like 2018, 2019, right? Different interest rate environment, completely different. So we dove deep on this. It was $300,000. We dove really deep. So we looked at the product. I pulled all the index resources on the product that they're in. And then I looked at the new product. I pulled all the index resources on the new product. And it was literally a no-brainer, Shawn, right? I think it was like 80 or 90% participation rate, which we can go into in another call. But it made so much sense with all of the research that we have at our fingertips. The client was like, yeah, like where do I sign?
Yeah.
Right. That was on Friday. He submitted the app on Monday. Right. So just those resources we have is the moral of the story, to help you not only be more efficient in your business and your time, but to possibly win those cases. If you're in a competitive situation, do the right thing for the client. We lay it all out there, from a full court press support perspective.
Yeah. I mean, you said it yourself. I mean, we are one of the 3%. I think that's the number. 3% of agents in the United States have access to these resources. 3%.
Yeah.
Right.
It's something so low. I mean, it's you guys, I'm telling you, I had a conversation with Jamie. Yes, I think it was yesterday. And the stuff that he's telling me about just the industry as a whole, you guys are killing it, right? You add the culture, you add the proposition from Experior and all of the benefits of being inside of Experior. You add the strategic partnerships, which we can dive into, right, on another one. I don't know where. I tell people all the time, I don't know where else you can go to get all of it, right? I mean, and listen, I don't work for Experior, right? I just want to make that very clear, right? I don't work for Experior. I work for Quantum. We're an independent distribution company. But when we're looking at it from a business perspective, okay, I had an Experior agent call me, been in the business 30 years. I'm like, why'd you choose Experior? He's like, because ownership and legacy. He goes, I'm building something so I can pass it on. Signed, sealed, and delivered, baby. I mean, that's what do you want, you know? And just the value prop is there, most definitely. Just got to get people to see it, right?
Yeah.
And it's March to 10,000. I mean, there we go.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid, brother. I love it. I love it. You are definitely a friend to Experior, and we really appreciate you. And as I said, I've been making notes about what we can talk about in upcoming Xcasts. Colton, as you and I have discussed in the past, I think this is as great an opportunity and as great as the growth has been in the last 12 to 13, 14 months that we've been working together. This is just the beginning, man. This is just the beginning, because it's still such a small number of agents that have really gravitated to this opportunity and grasped it and have run with it and have realized how much support and resources they have, starting with the EFA and then handing it off just like the perfect baton in a relay, handing it over to Quantum, and you guys take it across the line. I can't wait for our next discussions. We'll be promoting this extensively. And one thing before I let you go that we haven't talked about yet, aside from the fact that hopefully everybody's coming to the convention so that they can hear more about all the incredible things going on at Experior and at Quantum, but there's a special page that is being created and launched specifically for Quantum. And did you want to talk a little bit about that and what our agents can expect with that when it's available?
Yes. So that should be up inside of 2 weeks from now.
Fantastic.
That's the goal. Okay. Now, here's what I'm excited about. It's going to be a landing page on the Xperia back office that my team has complete control over, right? So up-to-date information, all of that stuff. But what it's going to do is contracting, right? Basically a 4-letter word. And that's just reality. That's just what it is. It is what it is. Same as underwriting, another 4-letter word. Okay. But with the partnership, we are streamlining everything. So dedicated site, what's literally going to be black and white roadmap contracting process. You want to submit an app? Yeah, click here. You want illustrations? You click here. You want product trainings? You click here. We're literally going to have this whole, and it's going to be top notch too, which is really exciting. It's going to be super slick. Literally all the resources from the annuity perspective, process perspective, everything is going to be laid out in black and white on this landing page. I am super excited, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it, right? So let's say I was talking to, can I drop names on here?
Sure.
Okay. I was talking to Aunt Judy, right?
Judy.
Okay. They just onboarded a pretty decent team, right? So shout out to her and Jimmy. But with that, we want that transition to be as smooth as possible. We don't want anyone frustrated in the process. Mm-hmm. So we're always refining it. But this landing page for the annuity and the strategic partner is going to be a game changer, especially when we're bringing agents over in droves. Yeah. Get them up and running quickly. They understand the process. They know who to reach out to, contact anything. Shawn, this is a huge deal. Oh. I can't wait. To be honest with you, because I think it's going to help that much.
Absolutely. I agree. Any obstacle we can eliminate for our agents to make it easier for them to have a better experience with their clients, with the agents, the teams that they're bringing on, and with, the whole opportunity to generate revenue, we're all over it. And I mean, you guys are second to none in terms of marketing and development. So we are thrilled to be partnering with you. Can't wait to see the website. Can't wait to have you on for another call, my friend, and the rest of the team. We've talked about having other team members from Quantum pop in and give their insights, because you've got quite an incredible team behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do deep dives, right? I'll have Andy Moore on. He's VP of Advanced Planning and Portfolio Solutions. We'll have my managing partner on. He runs all day to day with Quantum, been in this business 20 years from a distribution standpoint. I mean, we'll bring the rock stars on, and it's just going to be a wild ride. I think this is going to help. I think it's going to get people to understand the magnitude of the partnership, what Xperia and Quantum are bringing to the table. I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for the next one.
I know it is. And you are by no means an opening act. You are a rock star in your own right. I want to thank you so much for your incredible support. You've been a wonderful resource. I have many of our agents saying that you are like family, and we really do appreciate you. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for your support, and looking forward to having another conversation with you soon.
Absolutely. On to the next one.
All right. Take care, brother. Ciao. Thanks for watching Xcelerate. I have another great video right here, so check it out. And remember, Xperia Financial Group is about real people, real ownership, and real change. Let us help you accelerate your growth.